Welcome to CTV News Your Canada. It's Tuesday, June 3rd. We'll bring you profiles of fascinating Canadians and stories about your community. Thanks for watching.
Anne Murray's sparkly hockey jersey made headlines the moment she stepped on stage at the Junos.
I don't know. It was time intensive, I think. I don't know whether they used a glue gun or what they used, but every one of the numbers and letters had shiny glitter on them.
Now that same custom piece is making news for a very different reason.
Well, I've tried to think of what would be the best thing to do with it, and of course, IWK came to mind right away.
The eye-catching sweater was more than a fashion statement. It was a deeply personal nod to the country she's always called home.
Canada was my safe haven.
With more Juno awards than any other artist in history, Murray added one more to the collection this year, a Lifetime Achievement Award.
Yeah, that was quite exciting being there, and after a while you think, my goodness. Anyway, it's done. I think that must be my 26th Juno or something, and I think we're done.
The one-of-a-kind jersey is now being auctioned off to support the IWK Health Centre in Halifax, a cause close to Anne's heart.
Well, you know, what's more heart-wrenching than a sick child? I can't think of one thing, and so there was no doubt in my mind. I didn't even hesitate when we wondered about a donation. So I'm really happy that's where it is.
Bidding is open until June 12th, and the winner will not only walk away with a piece of Canadian history, but help make a difference for maritime families.
In a week and a half, the eyes of the racing world will be on Montreal. While some of the finishing touches are being put on the track, organizers say you can expect a much different F1 weekend.
I think it's safe to say that we've done a total 180 compared to last year.
Last year's race had a number of problems. The rain caused flooding and a lot of mud at the race site, not to mention communication problems. During practice runs, the stands were evacuated because of the rain. Many decided to leave, but then the site reopened. Officials say that's not going to happen this time.
Those communication now will be under control, so there's no orders or communication that would be given during the weekend that is not synchronized with all the communication that is official. So that won't happen anymore.
During a tour on Monday, officials say it will be easier for fans to get to their seats. There's improved signage and a more secure track. New hospitality suites will also greet F1 teams, and the drivers will no longer be parking on grass, which becomes muddy when it rains. Officials also say work was done to be sure the paddocks won't leak.
The park has invested a tremendous amount of time and resources into making sure that the building that was built in 2019 is now completely waterproof. A lot of tests have gone on in recent weeks.
And regarding the terrace fiasco on Peel Street, the Société du Parc Jean Drapeau says that too has been worked out.
At the end of the day, what is going wrong, wherever it is, it'll be associated to the event that we're hosting here.
And no doubt, Formula One will be watching closely. An agreement is in place to have the Canadian Grand Prix until 2031. But the racing world knows the pressure is on for Montreal to deliver a top-notch weekend.
The management of Formula One is going to take their own sweet time, and they're going to look at how 2025 goes off. And if it goes off well, then maybe, yes, there's an opportunity to renew the deal or to extend it. And if not, well, you know, they can start looking for other options, of which they have plenty.
It all kicks off next week with practice rounds set for Friday, June 13th. Matt Grillo, CTV News.
Braids, sew-ins, or even twist-outs, all intricate styles well known to Black women, but finding someone to complete the services proves to be more difficult. That's why 28-year-old Eileen Agata created Be Blended to connect skilled stylists with Black women. Originally starting the project back in 2018, the Kitchener-based entrepreneur now calls it the Airbnb of hairstyling.
Put your location in, your style, and then scroll through the profiles. If you are a stylist, you do something similar. So you create your account, you join our platform, and then you start updating your services, updating your pictures.
The passion behind the project is personal. Agata says the idea for Be Blended came from her time living in Ottawa when she was turned away from 15 different hair salons because they weren't comfortable working with her hair type.
It makes us feel neglected in a sense. Thinking about walking into hair salons or not really being a part of the narrative is really jarring at times.
I know with a lot of people with silky or straight hair, you have to wash the moisture out of it, right? And the oils, you have to wash it out. With black hair, because it's so curly, it needs moisture, it needs conditioner, it needs water.
The disconnect begins in the classroom. Certified stylists can graduate from trade programs without ever having working with kinkier hair textures.
When it comes to the curriculum, is that something that they, are saying is necessary? No, but when it comes to working in the salons, there's definitely an aspect where they should be working on a variety of textures.
While curriculum changes are on the horizon, stylists say genuine curiosity is crucial.
If you have someone you're close with who has kinky hair, just genuinely inquire about what it's like having their type of hair and ways to take care of it. What types of products do you use? How does it differ from mine?
We are a very diverse population in Canada, and I think that it's really sad if somebody doesn't want to, be able to do all of the types of hair and meet all types of people.
In the meantime, Agata hopes Be Blended can continue being a timely tool.
So we're definitely going to hone in on that industry because we care, but also because we want to see economic growth within our community.
Karis Mapp, CTV News, Kitchener.
What's that in your hand?
Created in 1940s England.
In the game of Clue, you'll figure out who done it with what and where.
The game Clue, originally called Cluedo, is the murder mystery which went from a board game to a film in 1985.
Every person in this room has the perfect motive.
Stand back!
For murder.
What do you mean? Murder.
And then an off-Broadway stage show.
A candlestick? What's this for?
Clue on stage is fast, furious, funny. The board game is also a whole lot of fun, but I think we might be a little funnier than the board game.
Broadway veteran Jeff Scarron, to me, a Martin Short lookalike, has had roles in How the Grinch Stole Christmas, Beauty and the Beast, and The Lion King.
It was when I was a kid. My sisters were in dance. And then I think I just wanted attention, and so I started doing that, and then I discovered, acting, and that's what I, found that I really like doing.
In Clue, he plays the physical role of Wadsworth, the butler.
He's the butler that sort of arranged the evening. It's sort of the driving sort of force, wrangling all these insane people throughout the night.
And it's a murder mystery. 6 suspects have been invited to a dinner at Body Manor, and once they arrive, they all realize that they're being blackmailed by the same person, and from there, chaos and comedy ensue.
Mary McNulty plays Mrs. White, and when required, any of the other female characters.
It's been a blast. I've got a lot of people in my head.
The run of this North American touring show comes to an end in Toronto on Sunday. This version is not a musical, but there is a reason this slapstick farce has been winning over players and audiences for over 30 years.
It's taking place during the McCarthy era in America. There's just that paranoia in the air, which I think,
kind of everything old is new again.
Yeah, exactly. But comedy never goes out of style.
Clue is on stage now at the Royal Alexandra Theatre until June 8th.
Let the game begin.
Andrea Case, CTV News.
Sylvia is a high school graduating student who is enjoying all the fun of prom.
Dancing, taking pictures, and seeing my friends.
Sylvia is amongst 13 post-secondary students who are finishing high school, a ceremony witnessed by 48 of their peers celebrating with them.
I'm having really great time.
At the prom. This prom celebrates those with physical, sensory, or cognitive barriers that would prevent them from going to a traditional prom.
Super important that everyone gets to enjoy prom, and through working with so many different high schools, it's a big part of what we believe in, inclusion and accessibility.
A day they will remember for the rest of their lives.
I enjoy dancing.
And it's so much fun.
Also a special appearance from Sparta Cat and Mayor Sutcliffe. Teachers even having a good time with their students.
The kids were super excited to come. We have 5 students here today, one of which is graduating, and they haven't had the opportunity to celebrate their graduation with their fellow classmates. So it was really fantastic to bring our class as well as other specialized programs together to allow them this opportunity.
The students got to mingle, laugh, smile, do coloring activities, take photos at the photo booth, and break it down like Tatiana here.
100%, and I like it. I like the photo booth.
The reaction right off the bat was everyone was so excited, but just seeing the students arrive today, I've never seen so many excited students. Everyone was clapping on their way into the room, and the dance floor has been packed so far the whole night.
And when asked how much fun they were having. You're having fun dancing?
Yeah, I have fun with my class.
Organizers hope this marks the first of a Pathways to Prom tradition. Camille Wilson, CTV News.
Essex Mayor Sherry Bondi has been stockpiling donations all month.
So this is the 3rd annual Mayor's Charity Yard Sale.
It's a win-win-win.
You know, who doesn't want a lobster trap? You know, everybody could use one of these. You know, pay what you can and take as much as you can, because I don't want to be left with anything at the end of the day.
And at the end of the day, charity volunteers will divvy up the money they made.
Each hour that they volunteer, they got a volunteer credit. We take the number of volunteer credits at the end of the day and divide it by the amount of money we've made, and that's how we divide it up.
Charity volunteers with Girl Guides Hospice, the Cancer Center, and 2 historical societies will sort through the donations.
Volunteers get to talk about their charities and all the great work that their charities do. So we're also educating the community.
What they won't do is haggle for more money.
It's not priced. We don't have the hours in the day to price it.
Whatever isn't sold will be donated to the local Diabetes Association.
Starting at 9 in the morning, and we go till around 3.
If you're getting married, Bondi thinks this might be the event for you this Saturday here at the Harrow Soccer Complex. A local wedding planner has gotten out of the business and donated all of their decorating items, from tea lights to vases of all sizes, even seat covers. All Bondi has to do now is hope for good weather. In Harrow, Michelle Molaski, CTV News.
With us in war and in peace and wherever we may go. Amen.
At the foot of the Holy Roller Tank in Victoria Park, members of the 1st Hussars Regiment held a public memorial.
On June 6, 1944, 14,000 Canadians landed that day. There were 39 squadrons of airplanes, Canadian. The 1st Hussars led the way on D-Day. We landed in amphibious tanks. We landed, generally speaking, ahead of the infantry.
Trooper William Herbert Beavis.
The names of 187 fallen Hussars were read during the ceremony as wreaths were laid at the foot of the Holy Roller. A parade to the sound of bagpipes marched through the downtown to Victoria Park, where the Holy Roller has been on display since 1950.
Holy Roller was one of 2 tanks that made it from D-Day to the end of the war, and we call it our last veteran. And it was beat up, it's scarred, it went through battle, but it survived. And just like the veterans who came back.
The ceremony honored all who served and acknowledged a change of command for the 1st Hussars.
And when a CO's command expires, an official change of command and signing of scrolls takes place.
From Lieutenant Colonel Chris Vandenberg to Major Wayne Finkel. And it's also officials signing in on the dotted line for our Honorary Lieutenant Colonel Bob Buchanan.
We just need to remember those that have served and didn't come back, and it's our sacred duty to remember that, because we still ask soldiers to go into danger today, and we need to make sure that they realize that we will remember them if they do fall.
Also on hand for the memorial was the King's Royal Hussars from England, who attended the ceremony for the first time in history. Rita Ismail, CTV News.
These dogs are used to playing in their yard back in Flin Flon, not in the middle of a parking lot in Winnipeg. But owner Heather Lazowski is just happy they're all together.
They're my emotional support animals. I could never leave them behind.
Lazowski and her family were among residents evacuated from Flin Flon last week due to the threat of wildfires.
We didn't have a lot of time to pack anything. We had 3 dogs and 2 cats to bring with us and my child.
Now the family is settling into life at the Victoria Inn. Lazowski, who works for the hotel chain back in Flin Flon, says she's one of the lucky pet owners out there.
We wouldn't have had any where to go if it wasn't for them, and they're very welcoming to our pets as well.
However, many other Manitobans fleeing wildfires were forced to leave their pets behind. That's why Canine Advocacy Manitoba is raising money and collecting food to send to communities.
The first responders are going to be feeding them, so I'm going to be going and trying to get as many pallets of food as we can to try to feed these animals for the indefinite amount of time that they might be up there alone.
The organization is also bringing cats and dogs back to Winnipeg, and they're looking for fosters.
We provide everything. Humans just need to provide the home and the love. We provide the vetting, the kennels, the food, every supply you could think of.
Meantime, Darcy's Animal Rescue Center's Annie Johnston says people in Winnipeg are stepping up to help pets that did make the trip.
We are getting so many donations of food in the last weekend, and we have been able to send that and supplies like collars and leashes to some of the community centers that are housing some of the evacuees.
However, she's worried about evacuees that don't have a pet-friendly place to stay.
We have already received calls about people being evacuated and they can't have their animals anywhere.
Daniel Halmerson, CTV News, Winnipeg.
The Stanley Cup won't be the only contest on ice. Rescue puppies will also be competing in the Stanley Pup. This year, the Edmonton Oilers will be represented by Leon Outsidle, while the Florida Panthers is the dogged Matthew Fetchuk. The NHL started the Pup Cup last year to bring attention to pet adoptions. 32 rescue dogs engage in competition. Each team are represented by a different pup player. And the kittens have a job too as game DJs. Stanley Cup airs Friday. The Stanley Pup airs Friday before Game 2 between the Oilers and the Panthers.
Andrew Williams and his children under the age of 6 enjoy the half-block walk to this playground in the southwest community of Wood Glen. Residents call it the hidden playground.
It's amazing to be so close because it could take quite a while to get out the door.
But that luxury could soon be coming to an end. The playground was set to be changed to feature asphalt and a gaga ball pit. Residents against the change launched a petition, so far garnering over 500 signatures.
What we're trying to do is save this park.
But the proposed changes are part of the city's playground optimization life cycle program. The area is home to 3 playgrounds nearly or at the end of their 20-year life cycle. The city plans to keep one, replace one, while changing the hidden playground due to its secluded location, limited visibility, age, and equipment condition. And while residents in Woodbine try to keep their playground, these changes are set to happen in other neighborhoods, including Dover and Beddington. In a statement to CTV News, the city says it manages over 1,100 playgrounds, 408 of which are over 20 years old, beyond the typical 15 to 20-year life cycle for playground equipment. Adding, while the city allocates approximately $1.2 million annually to replace 10 to 12 playgrounds, current funding and contractor ability and availability are not sufficient to replace all aging play structures. It is now hoping to reimagine some of these areas to include different play features such as gaga ball pits, ping pong, and cornhole. But for residents here in Woodbine, they just want their park as is.
It'd be a shame to lose this.
I just want it to remain the same, basically. I don't want it to change that much.
Tyler Barrow, CTV News, Calgary.
Perfect weather on a Monday afternoon in downtown Collingwood. One of the town's biggest draws in the summer are the patios. Kim Morrow is here for the day from Barrie.
It's a beautiful downtown here, and good company, and wonderful food, and such a great atmosphere.
This year, people visiting the Georgian Bay community will notice a lot more outdoor patios along the main street. The town has had a patio program for years, but this summer, it's approved a record number of 25 applications.
So using the parking spaces to animate the downtown really makes a lot of sense. So they've used both sidewalk, and a lot of them have used the roadways and the parking spots.
I think every place should be have a patio.
Everybody wants to sit outside in summertime.
Feliz Lucat owns and operates this Mexican restaurant and has had a patio for more than a decade. She knows of its value and jumped at joining the program this summer.
This year we were able to extend it to the street, which was really nice. We made it a little bit bigger and spacious for the customers.
And now that they've expanded them out onto the street, it's been even more fantastic, and I think that reaches to the entire town.
So a record number of applications and permits issued by the town of Collingwood for its patio program this summer. The permits are valid until mid-October. Rob Cooper, CTV News, Collingwood.
Changes are brewing in Saskatchewan's beer business. The province is dropping markup rates for production levels to encourage small and medium-sized breweries to grow the amount of beverages they churn out daily.
That's a good thing for small local breweries of all sorts, but especially local breweries. Small businesses are suffering across Canada right now for a variety of reasons, whether it's tariffs or inflation or whatever. It gives us some opportunity to grow and not have to face additional steep taxes.
The new rules were rolled out last week by the Saskatchewan government, but it's a move some breweries say may not make much of a difference, given how big of a jump it allows for.
Increasing it from 400,000 hectoliters to 500,000 hectoliters is a major jump. Obviously, that's a huge number, but those are capacities that most smaller breweries aren't going to be running at.
McPherson added most local breweries in the city, including District, don't produce anywhere near the amounts of larger commercial breweries.
Obviously, like your Great Westerns, things like that are going to be a lot closer to that mark, so it's going to help them a bit out more, get them to produce some more, but your local brewers aren't going to see too much of an effect off of this one.
But how much beer is in a hectoliter?
We do about 5,000 hectoliters. That's equivalent to about 1 million pints of beer in a year.
This markup is only applied to products sold in the province and distributed through Saskatchewan Liquor and Gaming Authority and third-party warehouses. In a statement to CTV News, the Saskatchewan Liquor and Gaming Authority say how much a given brewery is affected by these changes depends on their current and future production levels. It also depends on whether their products are subject to markup. The change takes effect starting July 1st. Angela Stewart, CTV News, Regina.
When Sarah Reese was young, she felt like she was living in a real-life Disney movie.
Actually, I wore a Cinderella dress throughout my entire kindergarten, like every day.
And she would constantly carry around a toy tape recorder and microphone to sing along to all the songs from The Little Mermaid.
But also, she had dreams of being something bigger.
So Sarah paused performing until after she realized her dream of becoming an engineer specializing in wastewater.
It's super essential to human health.
Sarah was so passionate about working on her first big project, she decided to write a song about it.
Like, I know that most people, they just flush and no one ever thinks about it, so I thought this is a good opportunity.
So Sarah summoned up the courage to play her wastewater song at a local open mic night hosted by Jeff Johnson.
She came in the first time and I'm like, oh, this is a little bit weird.
But the next time, Jeff really listened to Sarah's thoughtful lyrics, really noticed the enthusiastic response from the audience, and pitched the possibility of making a music video.
There was a version of the video that had like laser sounds, zapping bacteria, and they would explode, little poop emojis dancing around.
But in the end, Jeff and Sarah chose to produce a more professional product.
Wastewater management, who's dealing with your...
And the girl who grew up wearing fairy tale dresses and singing about under the sea donned personal protective equipment to showcase the complex process of keeping human waste out of the sea.
Where the organics get eaten in a vat of bacteria.
After Sarah recorded the song in just a few takes, Jeff shot the video in about an hour.
Till we blast it with UV for disinfecting.
And while it's unlikely a song about number 2 will hit number 1 on the music charts, Sarah does hope, like those fairy tales with morals she loved, her and Jeff's work both entertains and educates.
For people to like have at least heard once how their wastewater gets treated, I think it's more than many have heard before.
How cool it can be.
Adam Sawatsky, CTV News, North Vancouver.